Is this some kind of joke? I've been trick or treated to death tonight. You don't know what death is. Hello, huge movie fanatic Nate, stopping on by. This time I'm coming at you for yet another Nate watching, also known as fan commentary. This time I'm going to regale you with my thoughts on the classic, which is now, it just occurred to me, uh, it, this this year, this movie's 40 years old, Halloween 2 from 1981. So the so far for my channel anyway, the commentary for or my fan commentary for Halloween is quite the success with a whopping 35 views in like a couple days or whatever. So that's pretty good. So I wasn't really intending on doing this until next week, but I'm like, you know what? I'm really looking forward to this when I got some time. So let's do the fan commentary for Halloween 2. I've got my Scream Factory Blu-ray of Halloween 2 ready to go. So um, I guess without any further ado, or however that thing goes, we'll get started. Let me just briefly say, if this is your first time listening to one of these Nate watching fan commentaries, for obvious copyright reasons, I don't show any of the movie or you don't hear any of the movie. I do ask that everyone that listens to these watches the movie on their end with my audio, syncs it up if they so choose. And I would imagine in a lot of cases, anyone listening to these would probably know the movie well enough by heart where they could just listen to the commentary without even necessarily watching the movie. So do whatever the hell you want as we get Halloween 2 underway here. One quick sec. Okay, so we've got the 80s Universal logo coming into focus. It's in focus, an MCA company. Haddonfield, Illinois. Right here we can hear the 50s tune Mr. Sandman, October 31, 1978. The 50s tunes Mr. Sandman playing as we pan down from lush green leaves on the October 31st in Illinois. It'd be like the tree wouldn't look like that at all. But I've talked about that a lot in my commentary of the first film. Maybe I don't have to bitch so much about that in this one, but as I said here, this is an alternate take from this scene in Halloween that they use for some reason at the beginning of Halloween 2. It's the same scene, same everything, but just an alternate take. I have no idea why they used this alternate take. Maybe the film was damaged and this was the take that was left. I don't know, but it was like, in my opinion, this is an inferior take compared to the take that was used in the movie, as we are recapping the end of the first film here with the new music written for this movie, which is basically the same cues and stuff from the first movie, just redone with Alan Howarth's help and more quote unquote high tech, you know, version of the Halloween music from the first film. But I prefer the music from the first film more. So once again, just Michael out of focus, walking towards Laurie, comes into focus. So here's the strangulation from the end of Halloween. And as I mentioned in my fan commentary for that, they cut out the face reveal here as Loomis is going to, there he is, come up the stairs. She's going to pull the mask off here. You see a little bit of face, but they cut away right there before the full face is revealed. Bang. Michael goes down. Loomis runs into the room to see Mikey just standing there. Bang, 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 bang. And he goes onto the pad that you can clearly see. Obviously, they had to, probably with dark with something dark or something, they had to build up the walkway so he could, like, walk right over, because you notice there's, like, a railing there for the second story thing, so they had to build that up so he could actually walk backwards and just fall right over. It's actually, that shot's a lot of cheating going on. So here's actually some new footage from Halloween 2, Donald Pleasance coming out the door and seeing the Wile E. Coyote outline of where Michael had lain, was laying on the grass, having just shot him 6 times. We got Steadicam. I don't know if they're still calling it Panaglide, obviously, as he came out of the door there, touching the area where he laid to see nothing but a big bunch of blood on his fingers. Panaglide here going on, obviously. Once again, lit by Dean Cundey. The movie has a really polished look. Here comes the neighbor that is this the house that she went to at the end of the first movie when the guy, like, turned on the light and opened the blinds and shut the blinds and shut them? Oh, I missed the line read right there. You don't know what death is. Do 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 do. This is when the new music, the new version of the music for Halloween 2 starts. Mustafa Akkad presents. That fades out. Adino De Laurentiis, how do you pronounce that? Corporation Film fades out. Donald Pleasance low, Jamie Lee Curtis high in. Oh, pumpkin slowly, or jack-o'-lantern slowly fades in there, and Halloween 2, Roman numerals 2. And I realize that when I do these videos for, showcasing VHSs or talking about these sequels and stuff like Halloween, Friday 13th, I mean, I should be really doing Roman numerals, but it's always like, well, what if someone's searching for this with just the number 2? So instead of doing Roman numerals, I just put like the letters 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Even though the movies themselves, like in this case, Halloween 2 and the Friday the 13th films do Roman numerals, I figure I'll just do like for this commentary, for example, it's just Halloween and the number 2. Um, this pumpkin jack-o'-lantern here, I mean, obviously it's the exact same kind of opening credit sequence that's featured in the first film. Look at how I really don't really like how this particular jack-o'-lantern looks necessarily. The light went out on the lighting of the thing itself, like the outside skin of it, and we just see the glowing from the inside, which is kind of better probably. But I don't really like the face and the big eyes and the big nose on this particular jack-o'-lantern. The one from the opening credits in the first film is much more classic. Oh wow, Mark Goldblatt was the main editor on this. Pretty soon, as we keep on pushing in, the the kind of cool aspect that puts this opening credits sequence apart from the first film is that now the pumpkin is splitting open and slowly opening to reveal the skull underneath, which Dean Cundey brilliantly lights. Puts like this cool blue color on the skull here as we move further in, and he's lighted. It's really cool as the pumpkin splits there. We're seeing individual flickering on each side of the pumpkin as the cool light from below illuminates the blue light from below illuminates the skull. That works pretty cool. Kind of reminiscent to a certain extent of the cover art or the original poster art, North American poster art for Halloween 2. Written by John Carpenter, Deborah Hill. That's quite the scary skull, produced by Deborah Hill, John Carpenter. And directed by Rick Rosenthal, who would come back to do one of the absolute worst Halloween movies, which is Halloween Resurrection. So here we go. We're starting Halloween 2, believe it or not, like 7.5 minutes into the movie. This is really cool. For the very first time in the franchise, we're actually doing Michael Myers' O-Vision. Panaglide here, or Steadicam, whatever the hell you want to call it, is going through the streets of Haddonfield at night. Probably, still Halloween, possibly November 1st. We don't know. Seeing some trick-or-treaters down there, scary dog barking. You can see as the camera moves away, the dog keeps barking at whoever the hell it was really barking at as the camera starts walking away from the dog. But look at the lighting here, the blue on the garage there. It's just really, really great lighting. Brackett there. Meeting Loomis. I shot him 6 times. This man, he ain't human. I don't think he says he ain't. He's not human. I mentioned in the commentary for the first film that one of the things that was really great about the first film, but watching the second movie, I can remember, even though I don't hear it right now, I can remember that they that one of the really cool things about the first film was the mask breathing sound of Michael Myers, and I think that they pretty much do the same really cool sound, mask breathing sound for the second film. Now that I'm watching this here, but in my opinion, the mask breathing thing was never something they really got right after the second film. 4, 5, 6, you can forget about it. I think they even just stopped doing the mask breathing. You know, I don't even know if they did it past 5 at all. But the mask breathing for me, as a 12-year-old for getting into these movies, was a huge aspect of what made Michael Myers cool in the first 2 films. And when I first got into the Halloween series, it was just like the first 2 Michael Myers movies existed, and then the 4th one came out on video right, summer of '89 or spring or summer of '89, right when I was getting into the franchise. But I remember being disappointed when I saw 4 because it was not like how Michael was in the first couple movies at all. Even at the age of 12, I was fully aware of that. I was like, this is more like Jason wearing a Michael Myers mask. But we've got the Elrods here, Mrs. Elrod and Mr. Elrod sleeping in front of the TV playing Night of the Living Dead. I don't know why I did that with an accent. But Michael, of course, is borrowing her knife as she screams. The shot of Dick Warlock now reprising the role or taking over the role from Nick Castle. Dick Warlock walking. The lighting is so great on these nighttime exteriors. Of course, the majority of the movie takes place in the damn hospital, but these nighttime exteriors at the beginning of Halloween 2 are just really, really beautiful and makes you wish more of the movie actually just took place in the suburbs like the first movie did instead of taking place in the gosh dang hospital most of the time like it does. So what the movie does here at the beginning is give you a little bit of taste of what the first movie was about, just Michael walking from house to house and killing people before we get into the whole Laurie being taken to the hospital BS and stuff. So this part of the movie is fun, even though it's kind of short-lived, of Michael continuing his wrath on the neighborhood until he finds out that Laurie has been taken to Haddonfield Memorial Hospital. We just got a victim here in true early 80s slasher fashion. We're just going to introduce her to kill her. And I will say that the first kill here in the movie is kind of dumb. Like, I wonder what Halloween fans thought of it when Michael pops up like a Jack in the Box and stabs her. It's just kind of like, that's really cool, him out of focus walking in the door there and just you know disappearing into the room or whatever. But everything that leads up to the kill is cool, but the actual kill where he just pops up is just like, what the hell. I was just thinking the other day, because of the way that BNN makes me think of Barnes and Noble, because of the way everything worked out. Halloween Kills was supposed to. Okay, hold on. Here we come. We probably got like a steady cam here on one of them boom platforms. They do this a lot of times in movies where the steady cam operator is standing on the boom platform, it lowers and he walks off it to continue the shot here, which is something that's done relatively often. Look at this as like magic hour now. You can see, depending on what version you're watching, if you're watching it or even if you're not watching it, you can see the faint little bit of daylight fading away there in the sky or morning light, whatever. Man, this looks really good. When you're just watching it without sound, you can see more of it, I guess. Here comes Laurie Strode being wheeled out of the Doyle house or whatever the hell house she's being wheeled out of, with the new rendition of the Laurie's theme playing. And golly gosh, just like it happens so many times with these commentators, I think I was saying something before that kill, and I paused to do the kill, and I don't know if I remember what I was talking about. But I think I mentioned a little bit in my commentary for the first film that when I got into these movies, the summer of 1989, Halloween 2 just became an all-time favorite. And I liked Halloween 2 a lot more than the first film in the summer of '89. I think it was mostly because there was like more Michael on screen Michael stuff going on. And I just really loved how Michael was portrayed in Halloween 2. Michael was, I don't know, I think it's fair to say he probably has more screen time in Halloween 2 than he's got in the first movie, and just like all the POVs and stuff are kind of cool, and this and that and stuff like that. So um I was just a biggest fan of Halloween 2 when I was 12, and as I said in my commentary for the first film, this kid in the let me finish what I was gonna say. Ah, shit. I'll try to remember what I was gonna say. This kid on VHS, I never knew what his problem was. I thought he was just puking up blood, but not until DVD and Blu-ray did I realize he actually had a razor in his mouth. But and on VHS in '89, I always thought he was just puking up blood. I couldn't tell what the hell was going on with them. But when I was 12, the Halloween 2 was the ultimate for me, and it's a movie that I worshipped as a 12-year-old, and then, like, 9 or 10 years later, I watched it again, and I was kind of around the time the DVD came out, the Good Times DVD. I watched it again, I'm like, "What the hell did I like about Halloween 2?" Because, I saw it from completely different eyes, and I think it might be the movie I don't think I can really think of any movie that I flip-flopped uh, so from, black to white on, from seeing as a kid and seeing as an adult. Like, usually when I like something as a kid, I'll like it, the same or relatively the same as an adult. But this, I think, is the biggest movie where I went from loving it as a kid to I don't hate it, it's still like probably my second favorite Halloween movie, but I don't not like it nearly as much as I did. Because as an adult, you see that the main character from the first film, the only survivor here, Laurie Strode, being wheeled into this area here and going to be put on that bed. It's like she's the survivor, the only survivor of the first film in regards to people, individuals Michael was after, and she's basically one of the two stars of this movie, and she spends most of the movie laying in bed unconscious. So as a 12-year-old, I didn't care about that. I was just more interested in the Michael scenes. But as an adult, you watch it and you go, "Oh, good needle, actual real needles." I wonder whose arm that was. If they say in the commentary, actual real, you know, medical porn shots of a needle going in and out of someone's arm. That's just nasty. This is a snuff movie. There we got Jamie Lee Curtis with a Laurie Strode wig on, unfortunately, and you can kinda tell even if you don't know it. And I think there's 3 there that are Goody gumdrops. There's a third I think there's 3 separate shots of the needle in someone's arm here, and that oh, there's 4. 4 4 separate shots of a needle in someone's arm. God, talk about medical porn cinema. Once again, every time, we go to the neighborhood exterior night stuff at Dean Cundy Halloween 2 looks really beautiful, and an annoyed Sheriff Brackett here. "Well, keep going. Doctor, I'm just about there. What? The point where I stopped taking orders from you. All right, Sheriff, whatever you want. Primary concern is that we stop him. You let him out. I didn't. His own goddamn doctor. I didn't let him out. Anyway, I think maybe that green light from, Sheriff Brackett's dash, maybe that's a little bright or a little too pronounced. Jesus. Anyway, it's really cool to see is it Charles Cyphers here at the beginning of Halloween 2, and of course once he finds out that his daughter Annie has been killed, he very understandably so takes the rest of the night off, and we have like a younger kind of deputy character replace Brackett for Halloween 2, which is kind of a bummer. It would have been cool to see Charles Cyphers for the whole movie, but it's okay. At least we get to see a little bit of him at the beginning. So we'll find out later. This may or may not be Michael Myers. All of a sudden, he stopped his murdering spree to do a little trick or treating. But once again, a lot of steady cam here. This is this Michael Myers? He killed someone and took their Halloween bag. But stop, clunk. So we'll find out later on that this is in fact not Michael Myers, but it is in fact Bennett Tramer, aka Ben Tramer, the guy that Laurie Strode has a crush on. It's kind of funny how we never get to see what Ben Tramer looks like, other than, well, a burning corpse there. Is it him? Is it him or not? Incidentally, the sheriff there that Brackett's holding is Dick Warlock, the guy who plays Michael Myers in this movie. I would imagine, being a stunt coordinator and stunt guy, maybe he did that stunt of driving the car into the thing and it's exploding. But that's Michael there on the far, screen right, I think. I'm pretty sure it is. There's the burning corpse. Okay, so the kid who in '89 I just thought was puking up blood, who actually had a razor in his mouth, is coming out now, all better, and they're going to play some games. Here we have introducing some of the staff of the hospital. Fat security guard. There's a scene in this movie. Is this where it is? Yeah, this is the walking trilogy moment. So we saw the one chick, here's this chick, and then we're going to cut to this guy. It's like the walking segment of the movie. And this is whatever the hell his name is. I actually like this guy's on-screen persona. He'd end up being kind of a star in The Last Starfighter and the worst Jaws movie ever made, by the name of Jaws: The Revenge. This guy, I like. He's kind of that '80s Kirk Cameron kind of thing. I mean, I don't mean to take anything away from this guy. He's much better than Kirk Cameron, but this guy, I like his on-screen presence, and I like him in Halloween too. And they're kind of, he's not Ben Tramer, but he's the second running for, looking second in the running for winning the affections of Laurie Strode, as we can see here. I can't remember what this nurse's character's name is in the movie. She's kind of the stern, serious nurse who is all about business and not so much pleasure. But I can't remember the name of this guy who plays Laurie Strode's, maybe not love interest, but maybe she's his love interest, as he smiles and she smiles. I think the word is that Jamie Lee Curtis and this guy actually kind of got together for a brief amount of time after Halloween 2. Don't quote me, but it very well might be the case. It'd be cool if this guy did a cameo in Halloween Kills. Okay, so here we go. Now, I wouldn't know this except for the commentary of this on this Blu-ray, but see the guy in the plaid shirt and the whatchamacallit, the vest right there in blue, the blue vest and the blue baseball cap. Well, that's none other than Dana Carvey, who would of course go on to be, a sidekick of Mike Myers in the movies Wayne's World. Were those based off Saturday Night Live skits before? Probably. I'm not a big Saturday Night Live guy, but I find it curious that Dana Carvey is in a Michael Myers movie because he's going to go on to be associated with, Mike Myers and being, you know, one of the two stars in the two Mike Myers movies by the name of Wayne's World 1 and 2. Here's Sheriff Brackett here finding out that his daughter, his annoying daughter Annie, has been killed on this night of butchery on Halloween, 1978. I think Charles Cyphers does a great job here with just being like in shock and like, I better definitely go tell my wife before somebody else does. Go on home, Lee. Go home. We'll take it from here. What have you done? I didn't do anything. You let him out! I didn't let him out. I gave him orders for him to be restrained. Is there anything more we can do for you? It's funny how this guy's got like, he's probably from the South or something. He's got, I think, a little bit of a Southern accent. But here's our replacement. That's the last we'll see, I think, of Sheriff Brackett or whatever. So these two have a kind of a conversation in front of this reporter woman. So that's how some of this information gets on TV. And not that it really matters, but this is one of several. I think this is one of Loomis's famous stories. I don't think it's quite as amazing as the one he'll do later. I think he just does a couple of them in this movie, just like the first movie. I think he's more talking about what happened that night more than getting deep into philosophical stuff like he might do a little bit later on. But yeah, seeing this exterior night stuff, with no sound on, it's just really, you can really see it a lot better. I don't know what, but this exterior night stuff in Halloween 2 is really, really gorgeous. Now, I want to say this might be the director's son or something like that with the boombox here. Here we go. Here we have the introduction of basically the TNA of Halloween 2. She'd also go on to be featured in like at least one, possibly two episodes in Knight Rider, maybe season one or something like that. But very, very possible that she's got, augmented breast situation going on here. But regardless, I mean, still kind of the more or less, for all intents purposes, the hottie of Halloween 2. And unlike the first film where it's just kind of breastage is just flashed in front of your faces or face. I don't know how many faces you have, but very quickly we actually get a little more, you know, whatever, little more dedicated breastage going on in this film. And I, as a 12-year-old, I appreciated that. Oh, I don't know if I finished what I was saying before. I was starting to say that maybe this is what I was saying before Michael Jack in the Box popped up at the beginning of the movie. But and of course, I'm going to be interrupted by Michael again. But what I was saying, another steady cam shot. What I was saying earlier is because of bullshittery in the world, Halloween Kills is going to come out this year, which is interesting because the Halloween, sequel to the first film came out 40 years after Halloween in 2018. And now, just because of the bullshittery in the world, last year it was supposed to come out last year, but because of the bullshittery, Halloween Kills is coming out this year, which is 40th anniversary of the original Halloween sequel, which kind of works out nicely if there's any good things to be said for the bullshittery that's been happening since last year. That guy skipping right there, you know, always bugs me. Has always bugged me since I was 12. That the three people walking very closely, and that guy does some skips in the middle, and always, as a 12-year-old, I always thought he was like making fun of the way Michael Myers walked. I was like, good thing Michael didn't see you, man. You'd be dead meat. Now, this is funny because of the way the mask looks. We can talk more about it later, but the way the mask looks, it looks like the puppy dog Michael Myers because the nose is like brown here. The reason the nose is brown and like kind of it looked brown there, but it's more like for Halloween. So basically, the word around the grapevine is that the mask in Halloween 2 was the actual same mask that was used in Halloween, and Deborah Hill had just tossed it under her bed, after they filmed Halloween, and it just sat there until they went to make Halloween 2, so they actually used the same mask. So I guess when they were filming, I don't know if it was when they were filming the first movie or whatever, but, to take put the mask on and take it off, you grab the nose to yank it off, and then, grab both sides of the side of the, neck of the mask to pull it on, so as a result, by the time they get to Halloween 2, a lot of the white paint is wearing off the nose and also the sides of the neck of the mask. So, I always figured this was a different mask that they did for Halloween 2 because it looks different. Because the reason it looks different is because it was just, you know, it's the mask from the first movie and it just was kept in a not so wonderful manner. And the hair's all just pressed and almost like just a one gigantic big fluff of crap, and the paint's wearing off and the mouth is kind of deformed. This scene here with this chick and this guy and this other guy, this scene's funny. I like the way it all just takes place in this one shot. It's just like, and the imagery she gives for, they saw Michael Myers walking behind the Lost River Drive-In. It's a cool little tale that's, bullshit, but it's kind of cool. She's full of shit. He didn't escape till last night. Well, you don't have to swear, bud. She's a goddamn moron anyway. Every other word you say is either hell or shit or damn. I'm sorry. Guess I just fuck up all the time. that's, some, that's some funny dialogue. I like the way it was just done all in this one shot. Incidentally, even as a 12-year-old, I always thought this nurse character was pretty attractive. I'm more into, brunettes, brown hair, and here comes the sex pot of the movie with their tight sweater. Hi, Jimmy. Oh, hi, Karen. I'm trying to do the lines a little more in this movie than I have been in some of the commentaries. I don't know the dialogue much in Don't Go in the Woods. That's why I didn't do it in Don't Go in the Woods. Amazing Grace. Come sit on a. I'm all out of sync. Don't make me cry. I need your pie. Look, why don't you shut up, okay? What are you all revved up about? I'm kind of out of sync with that bit right there, but this scene is like all done in one shot. That's cool. This is Leo Rossi, who would go on to be in all kinds of movies, late 80s, early 90s, straight to video, including Maniac Cop 2 and all kinds of other movies and stuff. He was like the homeless serial, or not homeless, but the serial killer in Maniac Cop 2. So as we pan to this closing door, we're going to cut once again to Michael Vision going down the stairs. I was doing the Darth Vader, wrong breathing, but once again, like the breathing for the first two movies, I don't think was ever achieved again, to the level of greatness. I think they kind of tried to do it in Halloween 4, but it just, in my opinion, it didn't hold a candle to the breathing of Halloween 1 and 2. It's funny how many details and stuff I noticed when I was 12 watching these movies. Like I was just so into the subtle details of Michael Myers. And one thing I loved about the second movie, as he's just lurking around here, and he'll be seen in the background later on in this scene, is just the way he just like lurks around and he's just unseen by the characters and stuff. This scene with the babies just laying there just always creeped me out. Like, God, what if that's your kid and they're just laying there and this this big titty chick is late to work and babies could have died because she was bobbing for apples. So here's one of the scenes, and you couldn't see it nearly as well in the pan and scan VHS. So you can see Michael walking out there, but here as we he's gonna walk away in the background there. Yeah, I wish I could remember this guy's freaking name. It's on the Lance Guest. Is it Lance Guest? If it's not Lance Guest, I think it's Lance Guest. But he was a face from the 80s. But as I said, I think him and Jamie Lee Curtis supposedly had a short lived something or other after this movie. But I guess come to think of it, I mean, this lighting looks really great too, even the interior lighting. So basically, they filmed a whole bunch of stuff that never ended up in the movie. The reason why it's so dark now, and it's funny how when you watch the movie, you don't even really notice, but there was a scene that happened before this scene in the movie where like Michael cuts the power and the power goes out and the emergency lights come on, and that was cut out of the theatrical version. I think it might be in the TV version that's on the Scream Factory double disc Blu-ray if you've got that. But if it's not, it's in deleted scenes on the disc. But they filmed a bunch of extra stuff that's either been deleted or also and or put in the TV version. And the TV version is like way completely cut, completely this and that, and all switched around. It's insane. But that's why, in case you wonder why, well, look at that back there though. Those the hall lights are on. So I don't know if I don't know if that happened yet now or not. The probably would have. Maybe those are emergency lights out there by Happy Halloween sign. But anyway, even this interior, you know, hospital stuff looks pretty good. There's Michael with his scalpel. That's one of the things I hate about this movie is he had this big butcher knife in the first movie, which is just obviously now it's a Michael Myers staple. And I guess, I mean, you can't blame Deborah Hill and John Carpenter for wanting to do something different with this movie. Being in a hospital, of course, the weapon of his choice is the scalpel. And I don't, whatever happened to, Mrs. Elrod's frickin' knife? That was kind of long and kind of had a cool different look compared to the butcher knife in the first film. Maybe it would have been cooler if he would have had that the rest of the movie. I kind of find that the scalpel that's used in this movie is kind of small and not very intimidating. And it's so funny how the NECA action figures of Halloween 2 come with the scalpel, and it's so freaking small that you're almost afraid to take it out because you're just going to snap it in half. But at this point, yeah, it looks like the lights have been cut, and he also cut the phone lines as well as Jamie Lee Curtis tries to or checks the phone. Okay, here's the most boring scene in the whole goddamn movie. Mr. Fatso, security guard's gonna go out and check the the phone line or the power, whatever. He's gonna go check something. And this is just, I don't know what the hell I'm even gonna talk about there. This is, but look at that chick there if you're watching it. I can't remember what that Janet's that character's name. She's pretty cute in this movie. There is then there's the blonde who ends up getting stabbed in the back and hoisted up by Michael. She's cute as well, and I think I saw her in an episode of Knight Rider as well. But here we go. We're starting the most, in my opinion, the most boring part of Halloween 2, just the time killer suspense, quote unquote suspense scene of fat security guard just, oh my god. And here, I always thought if I had enough time and the inclination to do so, maybe someone else did it, but you'd take all the slasher movies from the 70s and 80s and do a montage of as he opens the canister, looks at the blood. Wow! The cat jumps out and lands on him, just like New Year's Evil a year before. So maybe someone's already done it and put it on YouTube, but I think if no one has, they should really do a montage of all of the cat scares and all the horror movies they can think of from, late 70s, early 80s. And it's just kind of funny how the cat scares had, even by 1981, become like a staple of horror movies. Trying to think of how many are in the Friday the 13th films. There's one in Friday 2. There might only be, is there a cat in anything else? There's a cat jump scare in Friday 13th Part 2 and 7. That might be the only 2 cat jump scares out of the first 8 movies that I can think of right now. Did any of the Nightmare on Elm Streets have any cat jump scares? I'm trying to think. I don't think so. How about Child's Play? I don't know. trying to trying to pad this part of the commentary as the fat guy slowly goes in. This scene's lit cool and everything, but holy crap. What a boring scene, especially for like, I can understand this being like scary or suspenseful on the first viewing, but for repeat viewings, this scene is just, you know, way too long to be, I don't know, just way too long for repeat viewings. Yep, I'm just trying to think about what to say as this boring scene happens. At least we're going to cut to Janet here. We can look at Janet for a while. She doesn't know how to work the walkie-talkie. Even as a 12-year-old, I thought she was kind of sexy with her arms, forearms exposed on that outfit. It looks like the sleeves are rolled up and her forearms, even her forearms are like sexy. Janet, click. How do you work this thing? She says. What's this guy's name? I can't remember what this fat guy's name is. This is going to be a funny bit coming up after this first one, this jump scare with the boxes. But the next door he does this with he like pushes off the lock and then he flips open the latch and then it bounces right back shut again. And you can see his hand kind of shakes like he wasn't expecting that. Like, oh shit. It's kind of like if you've seen Harold and Maude when the cop stops him and opens the door and with so much force that it just shuts itself. Okay, that was the scary jump scene of fat guy, security guy opening the door of boxes that just fall on him. God, that guy's fat. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. Now he's going to go to this next door, padlock thing, and he's going to just where is it? He's in the dark, and he's going to flip it off with his finger, the lock, which is also open, and then click clunk. His hand like shakes, but he keeps going with it. You know, he can't stop until the director yells cut. But I do like how this scene ends. It's pretty impactful, and the sound design for the hammer on the top of the head is really cool. But God, the scene, clink. The scene didn't have to be nearly that long. I mean, you can cut that scene in half, and it'd be probably still too long. Look at them forearms, Janet. Oh, Janet. Oh, Janet. Yeah, keep turning the knobs, Janet. Oh, she's given up. Oh, okay. So here's I was wrong. We do get to see what Ben Tramer looks like in skeleton form. Here's the guy from Jaws, which Deborah Hill would go on to put in her produced movie, which I really love. Part of my childhood. I saw it in the theater by the name of Clue, the movie based on the board game. This guy would end up being in Deborah Hill's produced Clue as well, from Jaws 1 and 2. I would imagine he's in other things as well. Halloween 2. So here's Bennett Tramer laying there all burnt up like a corpse. They're determining by the teeth there that Ben Tramer here is probably younger than Michael. But of course, Michael's, I think, what does he say? He's 21 or something like that. There's a kind of a screw up, I think, in the end credits of Halloween, where I think they say 23 or something like that. And then this one, I think they say he's 21 as a rock goes through the Myers house upper window. This guy always sounded like Sylvester Stallone. That's enough. That's enough. Go home. Get out of here. He always sounded like it was Sylvester Stallone on the roof there. Oh, is this the famous line? Look at that green lighting. One of their numbers were butchered. This is a wake. Look at that green light. Jesus. Heightens my sense of security. That green light on the dash light that Dean Cundy did, it's a little green, ain't it? So anyway, having seen the final trailer for Halloween Kills, it looks like they have like the quote unquote Myers house, which will be interesting for Halloween Kills, which is just like a week and a couple days away, so I don't know when I'm gonna see it, but I'll be sure to do a, review of it. Look how beautiful that lighting is. Cinematography. Okay, here's I think this is like the main story that Donald Pleasance does in this movie, like, kind of the spiel, the stuff he was doing in the first film. Like the being around the Myers house always gets Loomis all storytelling time wanting to be. I think the stuff that's going on with the guy does with the lighter there is funny, giving him a cigarette and then giving him the lighter, and Donald Pleasance's reaction to what the goings on are funny. I like the dialogue written in this scene, like the dialogue that that sheriff guy's like, back when I was a kid, the only gunshots you heard was the gunshots to start the local track meet at the local high school. That kind of dialogue is just great. Yeah, look at all if you're watching with me or even if you're not, the cinematography in this scene, just like, well, so many of the scenes, is really, really beautiful. So here, if you don't know, look at that now. That's Billy Warlock, none other than Dick Warlock's son there on the right, and he'd go on end up being in some of the first seasons of Baywatch and Brian Usna movie by the name of Society and stuff. But it's interesting that Dick Warlock's son, Billy Warlock, is makes a cameo in Halloween too, and they just informed the Loomis and the sheriff guy that Bennett Tramer didn't make it home. He had this stupid mask on. All right, back at Haddonfield Memorial Hospital. That how cool is that logo for Haddonfield Memorial Hospital, which I think makes an appearance. I think they redo that logo in Halloween Kills, I think, as well. But just the H and the M and the H is just awesome. But here we go for this is the very beginning of the kind of the nude TNA sex, well, not really sex scene. I mean, foreplay scene for Halloween 2. And as you can tell, it's funny how when initially before I knew about the deleted scenes in this movie and stuff, that it's funny how you don't really pay any notice to the fact that the hallways are so dark. I guess because it's a horror movie, you just kind of the lighting, the darkness of the hospital kind of just feels right. But I it took it was like several years, maybe 10 years or more before I knew that, you know, there was actually deleted scenes where Michael, well, you don't see him like cut the wires, I don't think, but where the power goes out. And it's like, wow, when you're watching the movie, you don't even really notice because I mean, I think obviously the reason they probably did that story wise is so that the movie could look more dark and shadowy and creepy in the hospital. If it was just your normal hospital lighting throughout the whole movie in the hospital scenes, it wouldn't be scary. So Miss Sexpot almost falls off the bed there, and Mr. Leo Rossi's wants some therapy. This finger needs a little therapy. Yeah, maybe something else. You're probably thinking of something else, buddy. Anyway, this woman gets younger and younger every year, doesn't she? When she was 12, or when I was 12, rather, she just seemed. I mean, like I was never gonna be as old as this woman is in this movie. It was so fun to be like 12 years old and getting into horror movies and being able to see women naked and stuff as a 12-year-old. Because I mean, shit, when I was 12, obviously that was before internet. I mean, now any 12-year-old can just see naked women just by going on the internet. But back then, it's like if you rented a horror movie with your dad and it was, not copy protected and you recorded it, duplicated it, you had another naked woman to look at. Oh God. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the pathetic dream here of Laurie Strode. Which I guess I might as well just talk about the whole brother sister bullshit of Halloween 2. I don't think well, I didn't mention it in the first movie because I didn't really have anything to compare it next to or with or whatever, but, one of the creepy things about the first movie is just the seemingly random stuff going on where Michael's just freaking, you know, just doing this stuff for seemingly no reason. I mean, that's a lot more scary than the bullshit that they end up revealing for Halloween 2, and I guess, you know, see, it's important to note that by this time, I mean, John Carpenter had done The Fog, which was much more of a the movie that he did after Halloween was much more of a kind of a cause and effect kind of movie, which was much more traditional kind of movie than the first than Halloween was. Halloween was one of these mysteries of why is Michael Myers doing this stuff, and that's the kind of stuff that I think is more interesting rather than oh, okay, well, these pirates in the fog are doing this because they were wronged and blah blah blah. Everything's all a neat little puzzle. So by the time they wrote Halloween 2, I mean, they kind of were still in that school of thought of, giving a reason why Michael was doing what he did in the first film. And obviously, no brainer is, well, he killed his sister at the beginning of the movie. Oh, cool, we can make Laurie his sister, and that's why he's after her in Halloween 2. Breastage is revealed, and yeah, I definitely appreciated that as a 12-year-old. Honestly, it's actually hard to tell if those are natural or not. I mean, they're so huge, one would think they're not because she's so skinny, but I guess I'd say they're probably not, but who the hell knows? I mean, they work either way. What a bummer to be like, this guy in a scene like this and have to get all hot and bothered and just cut and then just, stop. Uh-oh, Michael's turning the knob. Water temperature not to exceed 100 Fahrenheit. And by the way, I haven't even really commented on, just like the babysitters in the first movie that, one of the babysitters just pawns off, the girl onto Laurie Strode, that just being like the babysitter's not being very what's the word? It's I don't know. Not very there's a guy, but no thanks. I can't think of the word, but anyway, this isn't very, this woman's supposed to be on the ward as it were and by all the babies and stuff, and she's just going off and having sex. I guess this is something that, is said to have happened in hospitals and stuff. So I guess it's kind of realistic, I guess. Doctors and nurses or, hospital staff getting it on in the late hours of the evening and stuff. So I guess it's kind of plausible in those regards. Once again, that's really kind of cool how Leo Rossi is strangled in the background out of focus while we're seeing this woman's tatas and her drying off and stuff. This is really cool how this just plays in this one shot where he's just out of focus, creeping up in the background. This is what I mean. This is why I just love the second one more than the first one as a 12-year-old. It just seems like there's more Michael stuff in the second film and more Michael on screen and stuff. And it is funny, I think some people, feminists or, women or something like that, I don't know, I think there's been some people who pointed out how Leo Rossi gets it pretty easily in this scene, like, out of focus, he just gets a little strangulation and falls to the ground, and this woman gets completely terrorized by her face, smothered in the hot water and, so much so she's burning her skin off her face and drowned in scalding hot water is it's interesting how the man gets an easy death and this woman just keeps getting it and getting it. Oh, her face is starting to peel. Michael's hand should have had the same thing going on. The music going on here is like neo, neo, neo. Okay, look at this breast shot if you're watching. Breasts, see right there, they look kind of fake or enhanced or whatever. There's some Kentucky Fried Nurse face. Okay, so this detail here about breaking into the school, I'm not particularly crazy about either. I think this is supposed to be. Is this the school? I don't know what school this is. It kind of seems like the one Lori was at, but I think they said elementary school. I don't know, but and then did Michael draw this? I don't know if Michael was supposed to have drawn that or if that was just a drawing that was there for that a kid did. Oh, that must be the knife, Mrs. Elrod's knife, by the way. Would have been much cooler if he would have stuck with that knife for the rest of the movie instead of a scalpel, but I guess scalpel did become kind of I don't know. Sam Hain. That's right. See, you can tell they're starting to get into the Halloween 3 thing with this. It's funny how his explanation here about Sam Hain and all this and that kind of goes with what Halloween 3 would turn out to be. Okay, here's the female character from Halloween making an appearance, and it's so funny how he says, "Oh, I didn't recognize you," and it's just like it's been years between Halloween and Halloween 2, but in this time frame of this movie, he saw her the day before, so it's just kind of funny that he wouldn't recognize her. Okay, she's got to have a cigarette. She can't function without the cigarette. Yeah, so this woman would go on to not only be in Halloween, but Halloween 2 and Halloween H2O, and I think she's going to make an appearance in Halloween Kills as well. So good for her. It's just crazy that when I saw Halloween, when I saw H2O in '98, that I'd ever think this woman would be in another Halloween movie over 20 years after H2O. It's like, is this woman going to live forever? Oh man. So anyway, this character is coming to tell Loomis that the governor is making him you know, come back or stop his search for Michael. And it's just like, oh my god, what a crock of shit. This movie really is pretty good looking though, watching it in complete silence here. There's a marshal waiting for you outside, she said. Michael on the old security screen there. Oh, I didn't mention that when Laurie Strode got to the hospital, she was saying, "Please don't put me to sleep." And of course, they did for operation, but then she was fine after, and now she's had like a reaction or something. It's just goofy. But this is the part of the movie where she's look at how much grain. There's a lot of grain there, which I'm fine with. I'm a grain guy, but she's just like zombified with her eyes open. Oh no, Laurie Strode is zombified. That's so this is what I was talking about, like, when I saw this later on, 9, 10 years later as an adult, around the time the Good Times DVD came out, I'm like, "God, I worshiped this movie as a 12-year-old, but seeing it as an adult, it's like the main star, Jamie Lee Curtis, is, like, comatose in bed the whole movie, and then she's limping around at the end, running from Michael again." This scene's pretty I must admit, it's pretty nasty with the, Dr. Mixter has got a syringe, where, and then Michael uses a syringe on her and injects some air into her brain. I will admit that's obviously a syringe in a slasher movie doesn't really sound like a very aggressive or big or kind of or whatever kind of a implement, but the idea of just injecting air into your brain to give your brain a whatever the bends is kind of nasty if you know what it does, just putting the knife or the the needle right through the ugh. Okay, there's Dr. Mixter. Isn't she cute? God, she's already dead. She doesn't have many scenes in this movie. This is Halloween 2 upping the gore factor. They can't show it for very long. Just like with the first movie, Michael's gonna appear out of the darkness here, which is really cool. The lighting here is great with like the flickering of the flickering of the aquarium on everyone here in the yeah. I'm really watching this silent. I'm really there's the tilt head and the effed up mouth from the mask for the first movie. The mouth kind of is goofy in this movie because it was just kept under the bed. But I think the way the mouth is on the mask is kind of cool in the second movie. But yeah, the when you're watching it silent, I just see so much more of the image, and it's just really, I guess even the hospital stuff is lit pretty well, and like I say, the plot point of the power being cut, so it can be all dark and shadowy and creepy in the hospital is, but yeah, see that other scene, the lights must have not have went out yet because now the lights back there in that kind of reception area are off. So maybe that one scene I was talking about earlier was before the power was cut. I don't know. I think that's more Michael point of view going on there. Now it's really dark in the hallways. Holy crap. I would imagine this is Michael Vision. Oh yeah, okay. So this is when he's gonna go in and kill Laurie. And then right now the music is dun 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 dun. Ugh, that's a creepy mask. Dun dun dun. Oh, the ever dangerous scalpel. Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. Wow. Ring. Pillows are revealed. So now Jamie Lee Curtis, wow, it's like an hour into the movie, and so she limps around for an hour? I mean, half hour? She starts limping around and already at an hour into it. But I guess she goes into a room and falls asleep, so she's not limping around for 30 minutes, but she's already starting her limps. Here's this, the brunette blonde's dead, so here's this cute blonde. Did I say the brunette blonde? The brunette nurse is dead, so here's the cute blonde one, who will end up getting it in the back. And like I say, I'm pretty sure the blonde nurse here would go on to be in an episode of Knight Rider. There is Laurie Strode limping around. Look at I'm pretty sure the Laurie theme is going on right now. The new rendition of it from Alan Howarth. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, we even got Laurie vision. I forgot. There's kind of blurry edged Laurie vision going into another room and going to try a phone here. But all the phones are dead, I think. That shot of Michael way in the distance there is really cool. See, this is why I loved it so much as a 12-year-old, because when I was 12, the horror movies were all about the killers. The killers were the main characters for me. And the more on screen time with them, the better. I think we're going to cut back to him really close to camera now pretty soon. There he is. So he's, although one could say that Nick Castle in the first movie was, the epitome of Michael Myers. When I was 12, I loved what Dick Warlock did, just that kind of robotic. I mean, they kept the robotic aspect going, with Michael in Halloween 2, where he's just this one basic walk speed. I don't, not listening to the dialogue. I mean, I guess that Kirk Cameron guy kind of did fill her in and tell her that it was Michael Myers that was after her, but I guess I don't, watching this in silence right now, I don't quite understand why. I guess she just, why she's hiding out. Like, I guess she's just, her instinct is telling her that, you know, with the power being out and the phones being dead, he must have come to the hospital for her or something. All right, so about an hour into the movie, this is where Loomis has been ordered back to wherever the hell he's from by the governor, and looks like he's defeated at this point until he gets some vital bullshit information in the back of the marshal's vehicle from Miss Smoky Smoke from Halloween, the first film. I mean, I don't know. I mean, in a way, to do a sequel to Halloween and not have any explanation, I guess, would almost seem, you can't blame them for doing the bullshit sister explanation, but it still would have been cool just to have it just a continuation of the first movie and just random, unanswered, random acts of violence and stuff. And yeah, I don't know. The thing is, when you do a sequel to Halloween, I guess you want to, the the instinct is to have Jamie Lee Curtis in the sequel. Well, how can you have her in the sequel unless Michael's after her, still after her? And well, if Michael's still after her, what's the reason he's still after her? And it just becomes a pickle. So, I'm not giving him that hard a time for the sister thing, although I don't like it. Yeah, see, she's, even though she's blonde, she's a cutie face. I think later on in the background there, Michael's shadow or silhouette will appear. It was really fun watching these movies as a 12-year-old, 12-year-old, 13, 14, and looking at all these cute girls. Like, it's just like someday, hopefully, I can date one of these cute girls. It's like until then, I can at least watch them in these horror movies. I really like that pumpkin detail that they have the nurses. Do they all wear one or just this one? She's got a little pumpkin clip on her, whatever you call it. There's a Michael silhouette. I don't think. Oh, I can't remember. I think she had the dream about. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Lori already had the dream about. Why don't you ever tell me anything? And I'm not your mother. She already had that. Okay, here's Mr. Kirk Cameron just walking around in the darkness. I'm not quite sure what scene this is, honestly. He's just looking for Mrs. Alves, I guess. There's major surgery next to. There's two doors. Pick one: major surgery or minor surgery. I would take a look into minor surgery. Does that say minor? Yeah. Oh, Mrs. Alves is having some minor surgery. It looks kind of major though, because you see she's being bled dry, which is another kind of nasty detail. You know how like the syringe that he killed with, the syringes that he kills with, he's like using a little hose here and just bleeding Mrs. Alves dry. Ugh. Imagine having a Mrs. Alves diorama. This is really cool. This kind of, oh shit, I'm standing in blood. I'm gonna go squeak, clunk. Oh man. And then he just gets knocked out. Look at that shot's cool where he's just laying in the blood. It's kind of not realistic though. I mean, that you wouldn't notice that blood before you even walked in or while you were walking in. Okay, this is funny. So back in when I was 12, I got I hopefully I can still have it so I can show it or something like that, but I got the cassette soundtrack of Halloween 2, the first of Halloween and Halloween 2. And this part of the movie here, the music that goes here when she looks at the tires, is called Flats in the Parking Lot. And back then, I had a PXL 2000, Fisher Price video camera, making Halloween little short little movies with my friends and stuff. And we just basically play the Halloween 2 soundtrack on on the on the whatever, the stereo in the room while you're, dressed up one of you is dressed up like Michael and someone else is dressed up like Loomis, and you're just, setting up the camera in one big shot and doing kinda just half-ass 12-year-old kids doing a half-ass Halloween, couple-minute long video or whatever. But one of the kids I remember one of the kids looking at the back of the thing, and he's like, "What's flats in the parking lot?" And then, the soundtrack's just playing, and we're just doing all this and that, kind of going in and out of character, doing movie, not doing movie, doing movie. And at one point, I'm like, the cue came up, and I'm like, "This is flats in the parking lot, by the way." And it's, I probably have that video somewhere, but goodness gracious knows where. But every time I see that scene, I always think of what that part, that cue is called, flats in the parking lot. And all it is just like a couple of, just instruments going, or not instruments, is all like synthesized or whatever, but just like going, bzzz, like when you see the flat tires, just bzzz, flats in the parking lot, and the kid's like, "What's flats in the parking lot?" This is flats in the parking lot, by the way. Anyway, the story is over. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. This is the scene of the nurse getting stabbed, and there's the blurry Lori vision. This is so sad because this nurse is really nice in the movie. Okay, this scene, stab, near, 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 and then she just is like, oh, shoes fall off, dun, 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 bow, 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 bow. When I was 12, I thought the new rendition of like this music here was so cool, and it still is actually. It's just like it's great, and I think it's the first time we hear it in part two. The part two music is basically just new versions, kind of more beefy versions of the cues from the first movie, more or less. Done by Alan Howarth. I don't even know if John Carpenter really even did any new music for this. He probably just had Alan Howarth do it. Now, this shot of Michael going down the stairs is kind of interesting because you'd have to be able, he's just probably going down the stairs. He's clearly not looking, like how when you go downstairs, or at least when I do, you kind of look at your feet or something. It was kind of a stunt right there, kind of a stair stunt where he's going down the stairs not looking. But that's what Dick Warlock, the business he's in, the stuntman business. There's Tubby guy being corpse being hung, you know, she's hung by the wire or the cord to the light. I was gonna say that, there's already been couple Friday the 13th by the time this movie comes out, so you gotta do the discovering bodies. But at the end of the I mean, after all, I mean, she was discovering bodies at the end of the first Halloween, so it's kinda just doing the same thing that, they did in the first film. But it's kind of a bummer. I would imagine this woman who falls is probably a stunt woman right here. It's, like, right there, and she falls, and you can see her, and then see her ass with the underwear, and then when it cuts to Jamie Lee Curtis, that's all you can't see her ass. The little gown she's wearing is, um, covering it. And by the way, I mean, when they put you in these gowns, you don't have underwear on. So that stunt woman should have been naked under the gown. Yeah, Dean Cundey is really doing the kinda look at that red light. It's kinda he's doing it look at that's really red, isn't it? And Michael's walking over broken glass there. There's the ever so scary scalpel. One thing I will say about this scene, because in the scene that's like this in the first one where she's like, "Tommy, open up, it's me," at least Michael's walking kinda fast. This is a little kinda lame how he's walking so slow. Like, if he really wanted to get her, he can, like, walk the speed that he walked earlier this night, and like he did when she was trying to get in the house. It's just he's walking, like, so slow, he's not even trying to get her. It's kinda dumb. And it's funny because by this time in the movie, it's gotta be November 1st. I always thought it'd be funny if they did a Halloween sequel called, like, November 1st, Michael returns, or Michael's still out there, November 1st. And poor Jamie Lee Curtis has like nothing to do in this movie, but they probably gave her a decent amount of money, I would imagine, to do this movie. But it's just like, and it's so cool, like being in 2021, looking at this old car she gets in. You're like, God, why is there a classic car in the parking lot? But then you have to realize, well, this movie takes place in 1978. And in 1978, cars from the 50s were 20 years old. So, I mean, like high school kids, young people could only afford old cars. So it's realistic. But nowadays, it's like, well, you'd never drive a 50s classic car to work. But back then, a 50s classic car was an old piece of crap in the 70s. And granted, this movie came out in 81, but it takes place in 78. Okay, so this is probably, although it's not as boring as the tubby security guy looking around in the dark room for what seems like an eternity. This is the bullshit. I guess it's fun. It's got some fun Loomis dialogue here where he's talking about the druids would, you know, hold fire rituals, and where people, insane people, criminals were burned alive in baskets. So some of the spiel that Donald Pleasance does here is kind of fun, but this is the kind of boring expository scene where it's revealed that Laurie Strode is Michael Myers' sister, which you can just go take a flying leap at that. And when he says unconscious mind here, every time I watch it, doesn't isn't the shouldn't the line be subconscious mind? I think they screwed up there. I think they meant subconscious mind, not unconscious mind. Donald Pleasance just putting his hand on his face. I've seen everything. What file? This is the, yeah. Even though I can't hear the dialogue, it's just like the lamity of this moment where it's revealed. Having some water to keep my speaker speaking. Halloween 2, everyone. Let's hear it for Halloween 2. I'm just trying to, there's nothing to say right now. What is it you fellas usually do? Firing warning shot, right? I said that early. Spash. That's where the window was shot out. And now the car turned around and is speeding back the other way. Okay, back to Haddonfield Memorial Hospital. How cool is that logo? That's probably one of the coolest things about this movie. And like I say, I'm pretty sure we see that logo again in Halloween Kills as well. Okay, we think this shadow is Michael, but it turns out to be none other than shit. Why can't I never remember this guy's name? I remembered it earlier. So he's actually not dead. His whole back should be all bloody. I guess his back of the neck is bloody. Lance Guest. Isn't it something? So they showed his face, and then his name came to mind when I saw his face. So that's his car. He's probably a teenager. So that makes sense. A 20-year-old vehicle for a high school kid. I think now, is he supposed to be dead here? It's just so confusing with this character. It's like you think he's dead when he sips on the blood, he's not. And now is he dead here? I don't know if he's just maybe he's narcoleptic. Oof, stunt pay anyone. Jamie Lee comes plopping out of the car onto the freaking pavement for real, everyone. Ugh, and then the sound of her nails on the pavement. Oh god. I wonder what she's thinking at this. Is this the last horror? I think this is the last horror movie she did before Trading Places. You know, having been in Halloween, The Fog, Terror Train, Prom Night, Halloween 2, she's probably thinking, God dang it, is this my life? Is this the rest of my life? Help me. Look at her leg twitching. And of course, she can muster up the energy to ask for help right as after the door's shut. So they kind of do two of those Michael walking at Laurie suspense scenes in this movie. I guess it's Halloween 2, so we'll do it 2 times. But the first one was when she was trying to get in the elevator, and the second one is here now where she's trying to get into the hospital. And honestly, I don't even know why the hospital doors would be locked when they shut. I mean, why would they be locked? But anyway, here we go with the second Michael walking suspense scene. Once again, you know, if Michael really wanted her, he could, you know, run or walk a little faster like he did earlier in the evening, but it's just a suspense scene, so we're gonna milk it and he's gonna walk slow. But you gotta admit, I mean, Dick Warlock is pretty great as, you know, as as Michael as well. It's so funny watching this, how I just worship this as a 12-year-old. It's just like, I can still kind of see it through those eyes, but I mean, all the other things that I see about this movie, like Laurie just being in unconscious the majority of the movie and other aspects, it's just like bang, 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 bang. Uh, uh. Clunk, clunk, clunk. Michael just fell over right there. Stop! He's dead. No, he's not. Look, he's still breathing. Okay. One thing that's cool about the original Halloween 2 is, you know, Loomis and Laurie didn't get much on-screen time together, and you know, they kind of, I guess it's still not really much on-screen time here, but at least they get a little more on-screen time together, running for their lives. Get away from him! He stopped breathing. No! Blue, 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 bong, bong, bong. Look at how cool the mask looks there. It looks like the mask is mad the way it's lit right there, like the brow. Looks like the mask is mad. Bong, 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 bong. There's a funny scene. There's a funny shot coming up where they go in a door and they're both looking the opposite way, and then right at the same time they both turn around and look the opposite way. It's I can't even explain it. You know what I mean? Like they're both looking the opposite way, and then at the same time, they both turn their heads to look the other way, and they're both looking the opposite way still, even though they switched and looking the opposite way. I don't know. Okay, here it is. Bam. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, they went into major surgery room. Okay. Here's Miss What's her name calling on the CB. Michael Myers, just get your ass over here. Down, down, down. Do 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 do. It's not so terribly. I thought I'd have more to say about this, but I guess it doesn't take long to say I worship this as a 12-year-old, and because they showed Michael so much, it doesn't take long to say that. Take it. I'll just put the gun at her feet here. Michael's pounding on the door. Yeah, I don't know what if there would have possibly been a better sequel idea. Okay, so he comes to the door, click, 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 and then when I was 12 and I saw Loomis stabbed here, I was like, "Holy shit!" Because I mean, by this time at the end of the second movie, it's like Loomis is, to a 12-year-old, Loomis was a just a cool character. And it's just like to see him stabbed by Michael was actually kind of disturbing because it's like, oh shit. I mean, obviously, when John Carpenter and Deborah Hill wrote this, they probably, intended this to just be the second Halloween film, one sequel, second film, you know, had a couple movies, Kill Michael, Kill Loomis, you know, the end of story. Obviously, that wasn't in the cards. That wasn't going to happen. But okay, here we go. Bang, bang. Oops, the second bang was early. God damn it. Okay, look at how dumb this is. You can see the blood coming from above his eyes. It's just like, oh my god. Was he supposed to if he's supposed to have been shot in the eyes, why is the blood come up from above his eyes? This part, you know, I'm not crazy about the shot in the eyes and still alive aspect of the movie here. But it's hard to say, like, if the studio came to you and said, we really want you guys to do a sequel to Halloween, and bring Michael back, continue on, do a sequel. It's really hard to say what could have been the alternative idea. The idea of like continuing it that night is kind of what comes to mind first. Probably the first thing that really comes to mind is continuing the evening. Of course, like I said, you're obviously entering into November 1st territory, but because it's not Halloween, it's not October 31st for 48 hours or, you know, forever. But, it's hard to say what another idea for the sequel could be. I mean, I guess you could do him returning a year later or something and maybe terrorizing someone else, like if you weren't going to have Jamie Lee Curtis in it. But then, I mean, obviously, it's hard to say what other sequel they could have done to Halloween. Obviously Studio Brass and shit want Donald Pleasance back. They want Jamie Lee Curtis back. They want Michael back. So with those things, you're limited. It's time, Michael. If those things were in fact requested by the studio or whoever the hell wanted to see this sequel happen, you're kind of limited. I mean, I guess you could still do the year later thing with Loomis and Laurie and Michael or whatever, but I do, I guess I just as soon have it be more of the night he came home, where it's just more of the same evening. Okay, I've already said this before in videos and other reviews of other stuff. Here's, one of my least favorite burn stunts ever. He's clearly just a burn suit. He's all looks like Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, boots, gloves, and it's so laughable that he's got the fucking ooh, he just hits the ground. He's got the scalpel in his burn, protection gloved hand. It's like, give me a freaking break. Oh my god. That's like one of my least favorite burn stunts because he's just clearly in this burn suit, boots, suit, gloves. God dang it, give me a break. Now this fog, I don't think that can really be faked. This must be real fog. I would assume this is real fog, which if that's the case, this is really pretty cool. Oh shit, I didn't even really talk about the whole notion or the whole business of the song Mr. Sandman. It's interesting, ever since I saw this at 12, I always, that song I always really kind of went with it. And it makes you wonder why. There's Dana Carvey again in the blue vest, blue cap, screen left. It makes you wonder why they picked, that song or whatever. But, one can only assume it's because, the song's from the 50s. Michael was born in the 50s. It's just really weird, but another thing, at this time, John Carpenter and Deborah Hill were all into old music. They had all the big band stuff in The Fog. They had the big band music in Escape from New York. So I don't know. Although this is like a couple decades later on, look at how beautiful that fog is. Yeah, I don't think you can fake that. The Mr. Sandman song aspect of the sequel to Halloween is always kind of fascinated me. Like, yeah, for some reason for me, it's always gone with the movie, and I think we're hearing the music here. Um, as we're seeing the Michael Bask burn, and it's going to play for some of the credits until the song's over, and then it does the Alan Hallworth Halloween music. But I would assume when I saw this at 12, I don't think I knew that Halloween 4 necessarily was out or anything. Yeah, Lance guessed. So Karen was Pamela Susan Shoop. But I can't remember the name of the what's the name of the big titty chick? I forget. Oh yeah, so there's Craig, there's Bill Warlock. Okay. I don't know what the hell I was saying. Oh yeah. I would imagine when I first saw this at 12, I don't think I knew that Halloween 4 was out, even though it had come out like a couple months before I saw the first film. Um, so I would imagine when I saw this, I kind of figured this was like it, the end of the Michael Myers character. I mean, when they blow up Michael and they blow up Loomis and stuff. And I've said it so often in movie reviews and stuff on the channel in the past that it is just it was just so cool how like right when I was getting into the Halloween franchise is when they started making the sequels like 4 and 5, because then right after I saw the second one, the fourth one, I became aware of the fourth one, being brand new on home video, and I got to see that. And then I saw 5 in the theater that fall with my dad. And although, I was disappointed in 4, um, and I really can't really stand 5 now. I mean, I like kind of 4 now just for sentiment and stuff, but I really almost can't stand anything after 4 these days. But it's just interesting to me how like I was discovered the franchise right when they were starting to make more of them. It's just kind of cool. And the same thing happened with like Reanimator. I discovered Reanimator like right around the time Bride of Reanimator came out, and same with like Texas Chainsaw. Like right when I discovered the Chainsaw movies, they were making the third film, and it's just weird. It's like, oh, okay, Nate's discovering all these old movies. We better keep making sequels. Yeah, see, stunt coordinator Dick Warlock. How cool are those like orange credits on black? That's cool. Anyway, I'm not too sure I had as much to say about Halloween 2 as I thought I did, but I hope you guys, if anyone's actually listening to this, oh wow, look at that casting Mary Gale Arts. That's the chick from Don't Go in the Woods, the one who lives with the guy at the end. Oh my god! So it's like right after, yeah. If any of you don't know that Mary Gale Arts ended up getting into the casting business, so she must have. Wow, I mean, this is the same year that Don't Go in the Woods came out, so maybe she was doing it tried acting on the side. Maybe she was already doing casting stuff. She cast herself in Don't Go in the Woods, and then, anyway. So I hope this commentary was enjoyable. I feel like it might not have been quite as good as my commentary for the first movie. I guess I thought I had a lot more to say than maybe I did, but who the hell knows? It's the commentary, my fan commentary for Halloween 2, Night of Living Dead, courtesy of the Laurel Group Incorporated. That's weird. Copyright 78, Image 10. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention that Tommy Lee Wallace did his same thing when they were playing the horror movies on TV, like, and now for dementia or whatever, not being able to hear the movie. I forgot about that. But another thing that's interesting about this movie, having just seen the Dolby Stereo thing, is that it's quite the for a horror slasher movie sequel in 1981 to be mixed and released in stereo was quite the thing. That means the movie, they had high hopes for it if they put it out in 1981 in stereo. What's so funny about the franchise is first movie's mono, second movie's stereo, and then the third movie's mono again. So that rarely happens. Like usually in a franchise, if a sequel is stereo, usually the next one is stereo. Like Friday the 13th, six is stereo, everything beyond six is stereo. Oh, all of them are stereo now, but I mean, originally released. So it's just funny how first Halloween's mono, second stereo, third's mono, fourth, and everything beyond stereo. But anyway, I'm blabbing and rambling and rambling and rambling. So thank you very much for listening to this particular commentary. As I said, the plan is hopefully to do the fan commentary for the third film hopefully next week. I don't see why that would not be possible. I'm pretty sure it would be possible. So until then, you've got tons and 10 years worth of videos and stuff on this channel to keep you busy with. So I'm sure next week will arrive before you know it. We will see you on the next commentary.